Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Gosh, it's lovely to see so many new faces and familiar faces today. I cannot believe it. Wow. And you know what? We're here. We're here at Battersea Arts Centre. Can you believe it? Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm Charlene Salter. I am co-chair of the Board of Access Areas for Transforming Leadership.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nick Llewellyn. I'm Artistic Director of Access Areas. Lovely to see you all.
Yes.
So what is this event, Charlene? What are we doing?
Oh, well, Nick, good thing you asked. This is the event. This is Transforming Leadership. The conversation around learning disabled leadership.
Yeah. So what are we doing today? Why are we here?
The reason why everybody's here today is that we're here to help you and give you some advice and top tips on how for learning disabled and autistic for leadership, and also to help you overcome barriers that you find difficult.
Great. And we're just not in the room today. We've got some people coming from other parts of the UK.
Yes.
Should we say a big wave to everybody? Where are they?
Yes, we have our live stream up there. Hello.
All the way up there. We're going to say a big wave to the live streamers. Hello, live streamers.
Hello. You could be, at home, in the office, or probably on the bus even too.
So it's a relaxed space today?
Oh yes, this is a safe space. So, feel free. If you want to, there's bean bags on the floor. Help yourself. You can come out to the bean bags. And just to let you know, we've also got 2 chill-out spaces too. So if you'd like to step out, just ask our front of house, and they'll show you the 2 chill-out spaces. Great.
And we've got some other people joining us today on stage.
Yes, we have. We have BSL. And we also got captions.
Brilliant. And if you are joining us from the live stream, the caption link is in the chat. Great. So we're going to be grilling the audience today, aren't we, Charlie? We've got lots of questions to ask them all day.
Oh, yes. We're definitely going to grill you today. We're not going to be all nicey-nicey. We want you to think as well.
Get our thinking caps on.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think Patrick's going to say a few words.
Oh, yes. Well, Patrick, come on stage.
Hi. Hi, I'm Patrick. I am Executive Director of Access All Areas. I just wanted to, first of all, say hi to everybody in the live stream, and just to say to everybody, really, that today is a conversation. We're going to share some things that we did and some ideas that we have, but we really, really want to get all of your ideas and really the whole art sector's ideas about learning disabled and autistic leadership and how we can change things. So if you want to feed in at home, use the hashtag Transforming Leadership. It's hashtag Transforming Leadership on Twitter, or you can just put comments in the YouTube comments. Kate and Megan are over here, and they're reading all the Twitter and all the YouTube, and they're going to be your spokespeople in the room. So they're going to throw in some questions and some thoughts and some hopefully answers from at home as well. And then after the event, over the next few weeks, we'll be responding on social media to some of the ideas, some of your ideas that come up as well. So we'll keep that conversation going. And the last thing to say is that there are lots of us in the room as well. So if anybody in the room needs any support or has any questions, just grab one of any of the people that you see on stage. Olivia and Maka are around as well, I think outside. And Sophie is here beside me, but any of us can help you. That's all. Over to you.
Oh, thank you, Patrick.
So Charlene, who are Access All Areas? Who are we?
Access All Areas is a learning disabled and autistic theatre company where we break the barriers, and we get to the core, and we help audience to learn a few things, but also we've got other projects too. We've got Performance Company. Performance Company is where we make immersive shows, and we really, get to the core, and also the artists will develop their own show or even tour. And the next one, we've got Performance Making Diploma, where we have 50 students, and we train them to become a part, of accessible areas, and also just to gain their skills. And then we got Take Part. Take Part is our community program where we have participants that really have not enough of confidence, and with this Take Part program we develop their confidence and using of drama. So we've got Spring Back, we got Departure Lounge, we got Black Cab, and we got Spinning Mill. And also we do consultancy as well, so that means we do training for theatres and TV and front of house, where we train to be accessible. And accessible areas is inclusive and creative as well.
So what do we do in our spare time, Charlene? We do events like this, don't we?
Yes.
Yes, we fit them in. So it gets a bit boring just you and I on here, doesn't it, Charlene?
Oh yeah, it does. We're not very entertaining.
No, we're not doing. It's been a while since we had the tap shoes on. Yeah. Should we meet some more people?
Yeah, we're going to now introduce you to our leaders now, which our leaders are going to introduce to them, and they're going to introduce you to their metaphor. The metaphor is a metaphor that we've done training for, and it's how our leader role is. So first up, Adam.
Hi everyone! Hiya! Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Charlene and Nick, for introducing the event. Thank you so much. So, as they said, my name is Adam Smith, and my leadership metaphor is a colour-changing torch. It's just up there. And the reason why I've said that is because I can travel around to different places in the UK and shine a light and make sure that the drama space is a safe space and accessible for all involved. And also the reason why I've said a colour-changing torch is because as I've developed into a versatile drama teacher, I can change my style depending on the different kinds of drama sessions there are. So, for example, if I need to be a calm leader, I can turn on a blue light to teach a nice, calm, relaxing drama group where we do meditation and other kinds of forum theatre. And also, if I have to change into an energetic, glamorous leader, I can turn on a red light to accommodate for an energetic drama group. Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm now going to pass you to my colleague, Emma.
Thanks, Adam. My name is Emma Selwyn, and my leadership metaphor is a gumbert. I'm going to stand up for a moment because it's a word that I don't think many of us will be familiar with. Give me a moment, please. Just for the benefit of the cameras as well. Why not? Right. So, what the hell is a gumbert? It is that green thing, that little green pebbly thing that's on the screen. But what it actually is, basically, it's a shape that when put on a flat surface can either be still, or if you give it just a little nudge, it can go wobbling around all over the place. And I think that's a quite good metaphor for my leadership skills, because even when I'm going all over the place, I'm still quite stable, like I think I can be both at once. Anyway, Google gumberts when you can. They are fascinating things. That said and done, I'm going to hand over to one Katie Cracknell.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Katie. My name is Katie, and my picture is of a school of fish. Simply because I actually like the picture, and I love water. I'm not actually like a fish, but I just like the picture. But I like the metaphor because it's transferable, and you can move around and change around. And with the job, I find that with the job that I'm doing with the diploma course, it's that the students are all changing different units, so they're all learning different things and learning different skills and learning different techniques, and it's very experimental, and they can try out ideas and work with different teachers, and it's very adaptable, and they can learn like lots of different skills. So that's why it's nice, because it sort of changes around quite a lot. I'm going to pass over to Kian.
Hello everyone, my name is Kian Binchy. What is my leadership metaphor? My leadership metaphor is the octopus. Why is my leadership why on earth would my leadership metaphor be the octopus? I'll tell you why. Because when you're a leader, you've got to be adaptable and find different aspects of creativity, and in every single area, whether it's performance, creativity, in any kind of area in the arts. And also, you've got to multitask, and that's not one of my strong points, but it can be if I really pull myself together and magically transform myself into an octopus. Yes. And I shall now pass you over to Lee Phillips. Take it away, Lee.
Cheers, Kian. Yo, okay. Wow. If you can hear me. Hey, everybody, I'm Lee Phillips. My transforming leadership metaphor is fireworks. You can see fireworks in the sky because sparks do fly, as you can see. Just to get all the ideas together, see how well you can put the ideas together, even be inspired by everyone, and hopefully what you're looking forward to, or what your creation is going to be. Also, a bolt of lightning. Things can be good. Things might not go according to plan, but it does take time once you be more creative. Love you guys. Thank you. I'm going to pass it to Terry.
Hi, my name is Terry Huggett. I am the wolf. I walk, I earn, I do, and it's also my soul.
Thank you, Terry. Hello, my name is Paul Christian, and my metaphor is a tree. As you can see, nice or bristly and bushy and strong, which everything that I'm not. So, why a tree? I hear, but you ask. A tree is it has a lot of knowledge, which I obviously do, but it's a very quiet, especially in the leaves. But if you hear in the wind, it blows, and it can move in different directions. And if you connect the knowledge and the wind, then my knowledge can move in different directions. So you'd never know where I'm going to go. The roots, it's full of nourishment, and it grows over time with knowledge. And the reason why, because I like to explain knowledge to you guys for you today. Thank you. And offer to Dean.
Sorry about that. Hey, I'm Dean Hallisey, and my metaphor is the recording studio, because when I talk, especially when I'm on Zoom meeting, I'll just unmute my mic, and then I'll say what I have to say if it's important, and then I'll just be in the background, only talk when I need to, really. And yeah, that's basically it. And now I'm going to hand over to Charlene, but she's already got a mic, so I'm not sure whether to hand the mic or just to hand over to you.
Hello again. I'm Charlene Salter, and my metaphor is a woman warrior. And the reason why, you're probably thinking, why am my metaphor woman warrior? The thing is, I feel that I've got a clan, and I'm leading that clan, and I tell them where to go. But also, I've got a very strong shield around me, so no matter how much you knock me down, you will never break the shield. And also, I like to observe and listen, and I also give good advice too. So yeah, that is my leadership metaphor. Thank you. But also, we have a mega support from our mentors. So, mentors, if I say your names, can you give us a wave, please? So, our first mentor is Roanna. We have Katie. We have Heather. And we have Jasmine. Thank you. But now, I would like to welcome onto the stage my partner in crime, Paul Christian. Come on up.
Thank you. Thank you. Obviously, you know, my name is Paul Christian. I'm the Deputy Co-Chair of Access All Areas. And this evening, I really want to ask you a question. And that question is, what does leadership look like to you and at your organization?
There's lots of comments on the YouTube channel. Some of them are, leadership looks like collaboration, a shared space, listening and taking action for positive change, work as a team in your organisation, making it dependent on the person, being a warrior and being strong and confident, someone who can share their vision, quite lonely, having a vision and being the guide to get there. Leadership equals someone who inspires, is a good role model, a guardian, good listener, and represents beneficiaries. Multi-directional conversations, listening, responding, guiding, trusting and supporting, giving people agency to make changes, and sharing ideas.
Wow. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I would love to introduce to you the Executive Director, Patrick, from Access All Areas, who is going to answer our questions for us. So, are you ready, Patrick?
I'm ready for you. Hit me.
Okay. Question one. What did our Transforming Leadership program do?
So it did a lot. We tried to do a lot. So we started out a few years ago wanting to make this program because there are so few learning disabled and autistic people who are helping to shape our arts sector. So what we did is we tried to look at 3 different areas that we could change. So there's 3 things that we tried to do at Transforming Leadership. The first one was that we looked at upskilling learning disabled and autistic leaders like yourselves. The next thing that we did was to develop a new model of co-leadership. This is a word that we'll keep using today, but co-leadership has become so important to us because it's an idea of how somebody with lived experience can lead alongside somebody with more traditional skills. It's not a new idea, but it's just really important to us. And then the third thing that we looked at was to change the sector, to change how companies work. We keep saying that this program is not just about training learning disabled leaders, it's about changing how we work as a sector so that we can get more voices helping to shape what we do. That's what we did.
Second question, Patrick. Tell us about the different types of roles that we were in.
Sure. So to try and do some of this, we created 3 different types of roles. The first one was in governance. So we created a co-chair and a co-deputy chair role. And this strand of our work really looked at how people could not just hold board meetings, but how you could chair a conversation, how you could hold a space. It also looked at how you could represent diverse learning disabled experience on a board, so how you could speak for other learning disabled community members. And it also just did some training in how to kind of do talks at conferences, that kind of thing. The second strand then that we ran was in co-directing, so that was much more workshop and rehearsal room based, kind of more creative based. Looked at co-facilitating skills and directing skills in the room. And then the third strand that we did was digital voices. I think it's okay to say that a lot of learning disabled arts companies are represented online on social media by neurotypical allies. And we think that that's okay sometimes, but we definitely think that learning disabled voices need to be front and center online as well. And that's what this strand of our work did. We'll be looking at these 3 strands more in the next hour.
Okay, question 3. Why did we have these roles?
So, with Access All Areas, we feel like leadership is not just about being a CEO or a chairperson. It's also about how you can influence the type of work that a company is doing and how you can inspire other people. And we made these roles that we thought that these 3 types of roles could help to do that. So that's why we divided it up like that.
And last question, Patrick. What were the other important bits of the programme?
So there were a lot, but I won't talk about them all now. Again, one of the most important things for us was this idea of co-leadership. And as I said, it's not a new idea, but it's something that I really kind of want to keep bringing up today. Co-leadership for us is about saying that it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be your job to do everything if you're a leader. You can be a really good leader if you're not necessarily really good at finance. But if you are in a leadership position and you don't have the same lived experience as the people that you're working with, then you're missing some expertise there, and that expertise should also be leading alongside you. So that's the idea of co-leadership. The second idea is our idea of support mentoring. We've kind of mashed together an idea of a support worker and a mentor, and we introduced some of them earlier today. But this support mentor, I guess they give support where it's needed to learning disabled leaders, pastoral support and practical support, but they also come from a similar area of work and expertise, so they can give advice, they can help people on their leadership journey as well. The next thing that we did then was coaching. Coaching is really it's not often available to learning disabled and autistic people, but it's a really good way to sort of reflect on your own leadership journey, to have a space to kind of feedback one-to-one in private with somebody. So we created one-to-one coaching sessions with the wonderful Sarah Pictel and a wonderful team of coaches, and Sarah is around today, so if you want to talk about accessible coaching, maybe you can grab her at some point. And the last thing that we did, the last bit that I'll talk about now, is evaluation. This is such a huge part of what we're doing, and if you're thinking about working with learning disabled leaders in your organisation, it's so important that you don't just do that yourself and then come up with all the ideas and that's it. It's so important that the voices and the feedback of learning disabled people are through the whole strand of that. So we have a wonderful team of evaluators. We've got Lee Phillips, who's our co-evaluator, and Lucy Burke in the middle, and they work with Jasmine as well. And with them, we looked at kind of 3 areas of evaluation, and it's ongoing. Obviously, this program is ongoing, so There's still lots to do. But one area was looking at accessible tools so that learning disabled people could give meaningful feedback to the project. So things like using more visuals and using accessible feedback kits. We also looked at the importance of a co-evaluator. So Lee's role in the project is just so important. And his presence as a learning disabled person helps to shape the type of questions that we're asking people. And then the third thing is stories of change. We're looking at, if you're looking at a new leadership journey, it's really important, we think, to track the stories of change from a new leader at the start through their leadership journey. So that's some of what we're doing with Transforming Leadership as well. And that is probably enough from me for the moment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick.
Round of applause for Patrick. Thank you.
And now I would love to introduce to you Helen and Adam, who's going to now talk to you about the 10 steps to improve transforming leadership in your organizations.
Thanks. Hi, Adam.
Hello, Helen. It's good to see you.
Hi.
It's good to see all of you again.
So I'm Helen Breyer. I'm the Director of Take Part and Train at Access All Areas. And Adam and I have been working together in co-leadership as part of this project. So we're going to share with you 10 steps that we've come up with, which we think might be useful to anyone who's looking to diversify their leadership, to become more inclusive in the way that they lead, and particularly if you're interested in working with learning disabled and autistic creative leaders. You might already be doing some of these within your organisation or in your own practice, but we think that there's something in there for everyone. And we're also going to share with you a little bit more about why we wanted to do this programme.
What do you think a leader is? For me, I couldn't have thought of being a leader. So we thought that it's time for a change, to step up that ladder and show what a true leader is.
Hi, I'm Emma Selwyn.
My name is Adam Smith.
I'm Lee Phillips.
I'm Charlene Salter.
I'm Cian Binchy.
My name is Paul Christian.
I'm Dean Hallisey.
Hi, my name's Katie.
I'm Kerry Huggett.
I'm an actor, dancer.
I'm an actor, I'm a writer, I'm a co-facilitator.
I do content creating and advertising.
I'm an actor and performer for Access All Areas.
I am an actor / poet with Access All Areas.
And facilitator from Access All Areas.
And I'm co-director of the performance company at Access All Areas.
And I'm currently co-director of the Performance Speaking Diploma course.
Co-director for Access All Areas Take Part projects, Spring Back, Departure Lounge and Black Cab.
I'm also a digital influencer.
One of their digital influencers.
I'm the digital influencer for DAO, Disability Arts Online.
I'm a deputy co-chair of Access All Areas.
I'm a chair of the board of Access All Areas.
We are Access All Areas. We make performance work by learning disabled and autistic artists. We created our Transforming Leadership programme because learning disabled and autistic people are still consistently left out of leadership conversations in the arts. We look at our stages and screens. Learning disabled and autistic people are massively underrepresented in the stories that we're telling, in our characters on stage and our characters on screen. And in Access All Areas, we don't think that will really change until we start really valuing different lived experiences in shaping the stories that we tell and in shaping how our art sectors is run.
My name is Lucy Burke and I'm from Manchester Metropolitan University, and we are so delighted to be part of this project because we strongly believe in creating an accessible and inclusive environment for everyone.
I'm Trish Wheatley, Chief Executive of Disability Arts Online. We partnered with Access All Areas on this project because we're passionate about diverse leadership in the arts and we wanted to create great content.
It's not that people can't lead, it's that often the structure's not in place and are quite inaccessible to some people.
Us leaders, we come together and we thought to do some steps on how we can change leadership.
Look at yourself. Why not look at yourself and ask why your organisation, or maybe even you, could be holding back the potential of neurodivergent and learning disabled professional creatives.
So, as Emma has said there, look at yourselves. And the point of that is, it's about looking at yourselves and thinking, are there any barriers, any obstacles that you might potentially be facing that are preventing you from hiring learning disabled and autistic artists and leaders? So that's something worth considering, definitely.
And you don't have to do that all by yourself. One of the best ways to look at yourself is to get help from a professional, trained, learning disabled or autistic person who can come and consult with you, come and have a look at what some of those barriers might be. So you can include people in that.
In one of our sets, we talk about getting uncomfortable. Yeah, we know access can be difficult, but get uncomfortable and just get on with it. Woo!
Charlene's attitude to access is top notch. So we have been on a bit of a journey with this ourselves at Access All Areas, and when we started thinking about this point, originally it was get comfortable. Right, so get comfortable with the idea of being more accessible, get comfortable with inclusion, get comfortable with sort of working with a diverse range of leaders. But then we thought, actually, it's not always comfortable. And actually, as an organisation and just as a human being, it can feel unpleasant to realise that you're not doing enough and to realise that you're doing things wrong and that you could be doing things better. So it's about sitting in that discomfort sometimes, knowing that you're going to get stuff wrong, and as Charlene says, getting on with it, pushing through.
With it.
Step 3, open your practice to co-leadership.
This is our favourite one, isn't it, Adam?
Oh yes, it is, definitely. So, so basically, I know a lot of you are doing this already, but it is worth employing people to be co-directing with you, co-leading with you who have lived experiences, because everybody can learn so much from each other. You know, we can all learn from people with lived experiences, and it's a learning process for all of us, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really been a learning process for both of us working together. But also one of the major things about it is that not everyone has to do everything. So going back to Patrick's thought about not everyone has to do all the kind of finance, not everyone has to do all the admin. People have different strengths. So actually there is only something to gain from sharing some of that work with somebody.
It is important that we get paid for what we do, because we are the people that have lived the experiences and we make the work authentic.
Oh yes, a very, very strong point there. Thank you so much for that, Kian. And yes, because lived experiences are so very, very valuable, and it is worth considering paying people, because, you know, it shows equality and it shows changing of the world and making it a better place, and it shows so many improvements in so many different ways, definitely.
This sounds like a really obvious point, right? But it's terrifyingly common for leaders and artists like the ones that you see today to be asked to work for free. We know that there are barriers in place and there is a lot of fear around sort of paying people. And if you're bringing people onto your team who are learning disabled or autistic, you might find that they are in receipt of benefits and there are kind of potential barriers in the way to that. What we would say to that is open up those conversations. So ask that person if they're happy having a conversation with you about what their situation is, and then do the research to find out how you can support them in order to make sure that they are adequately, properly paid for their time and their knowledge and their skills.
You need lots of different kinds of support in place. That support could be pastoral, it could be life admin, or it could be to do with all the paperwork that's part and parcel of being an artist, particularly if you're a disabled one.
Brilliant, thank you for that, Emma. So at this point, I would like to introduce you again to Katie Wheeler, who's one of the support mentors. So give Katie a round of applause. Thank you very much. Yeah, so basically, we've all had mentor support throughout this project, and Katie was my support mentor, and basically, through the mentor sessions, we did various different things. So Katie helped me in getting better at making sure I am an accessible leader, and she taught me Makaton skills, which was very, very useful. And she also taught me how to create easy read information sheets, which was absolutely fantastic and really, really useful. But also, she was there to support me when I had moments when I was feeling down and I felt that I wasn't really doing well in my job, and I thought, oh God, I'm underachieving. But Katie was there to support me, and she was helping me to say to myself, yes, I am a leader, I can do this, I have got what it takes just as much as the other leaders. So thank you to Katie and all the other support mentors as well, so thank you.
And it's really important, actually, that role is not me. Because we work together as co-leaders, co-directors. Our job is to create and to do that work. So it's really important that Adam has his support needs met by somebody outside of this partnership, somebody who is skilled and trained and a specialist. That doesn't come free, of course, so a reminder that funding is available. Access to Work can pay for the support that your leaders might need.
There's many ways of how we work, like taking things off the page, where we'll explain here.
Brilliant, thank you for that.
We'll explain here.
Thank you for that, Paul. As Paul says, there are many different ways of taking things off the page. So from a director, facilitator's point of view, when we were planning workshops, we may decide to think of a game, but then in order to take it off the page, we may practice the game in the planning session. So that's what we did in terms of taking things off the page. But then, of course, as I said, for all the other jobs and other leaders, taking things off the page can be different to the different jobs. Definitely.
And it's something we do together as a group of leaders and as an organisation when we've got difficult concepts to come up with or to think about, when we've got difficult questions to answer. We'll run a workshop and we will literally stand ourselves in space thinking about dates, or we'll do exercises to make those difficult concepts feel real. We're obviously in a very fortunate position in that we're a theatre company, that is in our bones. But it's possible, and if you're not a theatre company, ask for some help, because really getting up on your feet or moving around and doing things is a really good way for everybody to get those ideas in their heads.
If you want your leadership to be accessible, you got to train people and make it accessible, you know?
don't have a lot to add to that, really, except to say that it's not a case, we're not asking you to just bring learning disabled and autistic people in as leaders, off you go, Bob's your uncle, done. We're sort of taking into account the fact that these leaders may not have been able to access traditional training to get into those roles because it hasn't been accessible. So it's worth recognising that and thinking about how you train people within those roles, how you make sure that people are growing and developing.
We all need time to learn, and it's really important to give things the time they need.
Thank you for that, Katie. That was really, really useful. So from my perspective, as this was a brand new project, obviously we thought it may not run smoothly, first of all, so we just gave it time to kind of get it running. You know, obviously there were a few little bumps along the way, but we just worked together hard to make sure that the project ran as smoothly as it possibly could do. So things don't happen perfectly straight away. These things do take time, and I think that's really, really important for everybody to know, definitely.
And on a practical level, if you are new to working with a learning disabled or autistic leader, you might find you are taking more time over things, and you might find that that is a real opportunity. I feel like I know my work better, and I am a better facilitator for the time that I spend with Adam really preparing and planning things.
Having a peace space is good because all of us can be together with one thing in common and have our own life experiences. So create a peace space.
Thank you very much for that, Terry. That was really, really brilliant. So, yeah, so it is really important to create a peer space, and that's precisely what we did with Transforming Leadership. And basically, we had sessions where we would talk about our experiences and the things we found easy, the things we found difficult, and it was really, really interesting to listen to everybody's experiences, and it was a good indication that we are not alone. You know, we're all in this together. You know, we're all on a journey to make leadership for learning disabled and autistic people much more stronger. So it was really, really important to have a peer space. So thank you very much, definitely.
Bad communication can leave people out of conversation. Step 10 is about making communication accessible.
And this is our last point, isn't it, Adam? Because it kind of runs through absolutely every element of this programme.
Of course, and of course, with accessible communication, of course, we have easy read information sheets, but there are a lot of other things to consider as well. Like, for example, training people in sign language to communicate with non-verbal people and so forth, and also thinking about jargon as well, you know, so making sure people know the right jargon and that the jargon is clear enough and that we know the terminology as well. So there's so many things to consider with accessible communication.
And it's not just about accessible communication with those leaders. It's not just about accessible communication with your participants. Top tip, it's great if you use it across your whole organisation and you have a bit of a rule to just say what you mean and cut out a lot of that difficult language and that jargon and all those acronyms that we love so much in the arts. It benefits everybody to communicate more clearly.
It does, and I just want to say thank you so much for listening to all of that. So give yourself a round of applause. Thank you. Brilliant. And thank you to all the leaders for saying all the different points. It's been really, really useful. So thank you.
What's next?
Okay, so next I'm going to introduce you onto the stage, the team from Disability Arts Online.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. My name's Trish Wheatley. I'm the Chief Executive of Disability Arts Online. We're an organisation that has been around nearly 20 years now. It's founded by Colin, and we are a content producer and do a lot of talent development and support work in the arts and cultural sector, helping to make it more accessible and to support artists, disabled artists, to thrive. So, I haven't seen that video before, and it was really, really interesting just seeing those 10 points mapped out for you lot. I wish we'd had that at the beginning of the project. So our role in the project, and we developed it with Access All Areas. We decided to partner on this project for a couple of reasons. Partly what Patrick was talking about earlier, about addressing the fact that there are not enough disabled leaders visible in the arts and cultural sector, particularly learning disabled and autistic leaders. And from within our own organisation, it's important. It's been important for us for a number of years now to start diversifying the content that we're producing, moving a little bit away from the text-based journalism that we're known for and towards more multimedia content. Now, the best way for us to do that was to bring in someone with lived experience to attract those audiences to us and to make relevant, brilliant content. So that's what we developed as part of this project. And now I'm going to hand over to Dean, who's going to talk a little bit about what you've done as part of the project.
So yeah, basically I just create content and connect the alt scene with disability arts. I mean that's where the whole term ambassador comes in. I mean, never thought that at first, but and people look at me and think you don't look autistic or you must be good at maths. Well, that's not the case, because I am shit at maths. I'm more of a visual artist. I mean, visuals, pictures. I mean, it's where I got the name Captain Psychedelic. So yeah, and of course, check out my YouTube takeover.
And I think we're going to show the trailer.
So what you can expect from this YouTube takeover is a lot of diverse and album creation and different chapters and lots of colours and levels. So the first album is called Roots, and it's about advocacy and connection. Second album is called Spirit, and it's about kindred, punk and activism. So it's featuring Mick Scarlett, John Kelly, Colin, etc, etc. The drill. So album 3 is called Gallivant, and it's full of adventures and time lapses and just this is about adventure basically. It'll feature Wales, Brighton, and all around bits of London. Also, album number 4 is called Wisdom. Basically, it's about mystery, growth, and leadership. You get the gist of it. Welcome to my multiverse. Well, according to me, that is. Enjoy. You might recognise this area from one of my time lapses that Lowry filmed, and I think Dee was featured in it as well. Actually, yes, Dee, I'm talking about you. If you're watching, shout out to you, man. So it's also showing you bit about my life and the work I do with Dow as well. Mixed and selected by me, and yeah. Need I say more?
Steve. I'm Colin Hambrook. I'm the founding editor of Disability Arts Online, and it's been a great pleasure for us working with Dean over the last 2 years. It was a bit of a, lockdown came in March 2020, just as we were getting started, and so we had to, from the very start, we had to learn to adapt very quickly to making accessible communication online rather than in person, which made the process a kind of a lot slower and a lot more considered in some ways. It was really important for us to take the time for the team to get to know Dean and for Dean to get to know the team. That was the kind of foundation of the process, and finding out what Dean's aspirations were, and his engagement with the art scene, and his passion to be a YouTuber. Kind of that became the sort of our key kind of focus, and working out what skills Dean wanted to learn in editing and using bits of software, and it's been a great learning journey, and something that we at Disability Arts Online have wanted to do for a very long time, and it's taken time for us to build the capacity and the team around us to support to be able to do that, and we're really delighted at the result. And do look out for Dean's YouTube takeover on the Disability Arts Online YouTube channel. And one of the key things has been about communication, working out different ways of adapting communication styles. And so, for example, one of the things at Disability Arts Online we have is a Survive and Thrive plan, which is a kind of policy that we incorporated about 3 or 4 years ago. And it's about how we look after each other as a team, kind of checking in, having conversations to check out, where we're at, kind of physically, emotionally, in terms of our different impairments and so on. And one of the really important things working with Dean was doing an easy read version of the Survive and Thrive plan, and realizing that actually that was the most accessible and the best way of presenting it for everyone, kind of working out how to keep the language kind of direct and simple.
Hello, welcome back to all the live streamers at home. So this next section is we are going to hear a bit more about what the leaders actually got up to in their different roles on Transform Leadership. We're very lucky to be joined to start with by Emma, Katie and Adam, with Katie supporting as well, the 3 co-directors. So we're going to watch a little video, and then it's your chance to ask some questions for another 10 minutes about what they did, and then we're going to move on to, they're going to leave, and we're going to move on to another group who are going to come in and talk about their roles. So, yeah, we'll hand you over to the film.
Co-directing is absolutely brilliant. Consider collaborating with other people. You will learn so much, and the possibilities are endless. So, Helen, can we discuss how we work together in Take Part?
Yeah, I just think we've gained so much from working together, and I have gained so much from working with Adam. Over time, we've worked out what are your strengths, what are my strengths, and sort of between us, we've become this sort of perfect magical director.
So in 2021, I made my co-directorial debut, a digital piece called The Interrogation.
Oh yeah, so we worked on that together, working with a writer and with Charlene as a co-writer as well.
Ultimately, it was Charlene's this piece, as she was the one starring in it.
And a big part of that was you working on the research side of it, as well as the actual directing the final piece.
All of us, her, Nick, me, Sean, Dunn, the writer, and the other cast and crew, all brought their own little elements of research and stuff to the table.
So I think, being completely honest, I used to think of myself as a bit of a lone wolf when it came to sort of directing and facilitating. This way of working is not the norm. It's not the norm in participation spaces. It's often one workshop leader kind of calling the shots and being in charge. So we work together, co-leading the diploma.
Yes.
How do we do that, Katie?
Well, we support each other in terms of being able to provide, I might do a few games, a few activities, but then I also support with all the other classes.
Sometimes it's not about being in front of the class, giving kind of a lecture. Sometimes actually it's about being with a small group or being one-to-one with people, and that in itself is real leadership. I think that's something that you bring to our co-leadership partnership.
Not only is it co-directing between you and I, but it's also co-directing, co-creation with all of the artists and collaborators we're working with.
I think the top tips for co-directing is basically listening to your co-director, learning from your co-director, and bouncing ideas from your co-director as well, and working together as a team to listen to the participants, listening to their ideas and kind of honing in on their ideas and experiences to make their voices heard to the rest of the world.
I believe very strongly that lived experience is imperative, because you're going to get a far more authentic portrayal of autism or whatever other disability if you have an actor that actually has that disability.
We actually made the scripts. We did lots of focus groups with other autistic people. Together we listened to a lot of different quite horrendous experiences of accessing medical treatment. And then you and I sat together and kind of looked at what some of the main issues were.
And I hope that the course keeps going for a long time, because even some people from the course, I think actually two or three people are actually asked about the Transforming Leadership Project, so already there are
students going, I could be Katie Cracknell.
They can do it.
Thinking about those participants as well though, I think you bring something that I just never could, because I've not been in their position. Having an autistic leader in the room is so powerful, and just something that I could never bring that by myself. I think it's just amazing, and I never want to work again without a co-facilitator, and I never want to run workshops for learning disabled and autistic people without a learning disabled or autistic person in the room with me. It makes no sense to me anymore.
It doesn't feel like I'm just consulting with you. It feels like you're very much part and parcel of me now.
Honestly,
and the other way around.
Yeah, same.
It has genuinely completely changed my practice.
So if anyone's got any questions that they want to ask the leaders about their practice or what they've done on the programme over the last 2 years, now's your chance, and that includes anyone at home on the chat as well. We'll open it out. So 10 minutes. Anyone want to start us off? Yes, we've got somebody there. Yeah, they will come on. Yep.
Limited, pronouns she, her. The main thing that I'm interested in is what was the most difficult thing about co-leadership? We've talked about what have been your favourite things, but what has been the most challenging, and how did you overcome what you found challenging? And it can be for anyone that wants to answer it.
Very good question. Anyone like to take that one? Adam? Here you go.
Hello, brilliant. So I think the difficult thing for me about co-leadership, I think, was working on Zoom. And obviously, when we started this project, it was in 2020. And I had 6 weeks of in-person sessions before going on to Zoom because of the pandemic, and I think that's when I found co-directing a little bit difficult, because obviously with internet issues, you know, sometimes I was accidentally speaking over Helen and sometimes she was speaking over me, but I think we kind of worked together along the process to get used to Zoom and everything, and, you know, so I think that was the most difficult thing for me. I think just mainly just working on Zoom, I think, first of all, definitely.
And then it's amazing how we sort of got into it. Once we started working back in a room again, we just sort of all kind of, the energy just came together again.
We did, you know, it was just relief for all of us to be in our jobs, you know, just working together face to face and just really enjoying each other's presence and each other's teamwork, definitely. Brilliant.
Thank you. Katie?
I think it's quite similar, because actually we started in 2020, and we started off sort of with like the diploma course and other groups being sort of actually in the space, and then having to go online. And the first year was more about observing, and I think for me I was very nervous about doing anything with big groups of people, because predominantly if I've ever done any workshops before with like people in the past, I have done a workshop in Canada Water, and all the participants were really excited, and I became so overwhelmed I had to give like the workshop, like the activity back to the teacher to teach, because it becomes so overwhelming to do something. And if you're a bit nervous, then obviously I think going on Zoom was quite good practice for me to start doing it, because you were just doing small exercises just in front of Zoom. It was easy, and then you could build up your confidence, because you weren't having to like deliver in a big space. You could explore being somewhere on Zoom which is a bit smaller.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. Emma?
Thanks, Katie. The question was, what was the most difficult thing, wasn't it? Thanks. Cheers. Thumbs up to appreciated. Okay, right. So, I think the things I have found most difficult, and if I'm totally honest, probably still find most difficult, are not butting in when something's come to mind. Yeah, Nick's nodding very emphatically.
We have a good fun. We have good banter. We have good banter with it
now. So there's that, and I think for me, there's also, I also struggle with refining a point. So, give me a moment. No, I can't do it. I was going to try and put the mic between my knees. So imagine that all the ideas I've got in mind for something or other are, but I need them to be more like that. So I need a lot of support with refining ideas and filtering out what's most relevant for the specific contexts.
And we've found ways of doing that, haven't we, Emma? You know, we might find ways of kind of, okay, let's park that, come back to that, and kind of narrow it down to 3 or 4 choices to choose from, maybe.
Yeah, and there are also times where, when working on the interrogation, where you were more at the forefront, or when I was more at the forefront.
So we take it in turns sometimes. So say, for example, you might direct one particular scene and I might support you, and then I might direct another scene and you might support me.
Yeah. Oh, wait, actually, I've just thought of something else. We were in a recording studio. We were recording some scenes for the interrogation, and Nick and I would not necessarily argue, but we'd see things slightly differently, and I wouldn't necessarily quite get where Nick was coming from at first, but then it would click. So it's just that pattern of getting used to how each other works. And I think Adam mentioned that with Helen. And I'm sure that's a thing for a lot of other director, co-director partnerships, you know?
Exactly. We just sort of find our way through together and actually realise that we can kind of step in to each other's practice sometimes, and actually know that it's a really great thing to have that extra support in the room for somebody else to kind of explain a point more clearly than maybe the other person's doing.
Just to give a specific example, there was one scene where Charlene was having an argument with an app. And Nick, I think was thinking quite cerebrally, verbal based. And I thought it would be helpful to get the intended emotions across if we tried moving physically. So what happened was I got Heather, who is here today in another room right now. She was working with Charlene, and I got her to kind of press down on Charlene with Charlene's and Heather's consent. Consent is imperative in all contexts. So I think it's about yin and yang, something like that.
Thanks, Emma. Very well put. Matt, do we need to move now? Adam, yeah?
With my job, I co-directed an audio exhibition called Still Here back in 2020, and it was all about, coping with the lockdown and basically, and I think one of the challenging thing was probably just working with limited equipment, like phones and everything, but we managed to work our way around it, and we got participants to record their voices, their audio descriptions through their phones and then send them off via email. But it was really great that we were able to have the facilities at the time to co-direct Still Here, the audio exhibition, so it was really, really useful to have those facilities.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you. The three directors are going to move to another room. The audience are going to stay here. Live stream people, you obviously stay here too. But whilst we're doing that, if you want to write anything down on your card, you're more than welcome to, or you can leave them to the end of this section. But thank you so much to the three co-directors, and we'll see you all back in the room later. Yeah, thank you.
There's a question from Charlotte Beaver, AAC. How were the learning disabled autistic co-directors selected, and how did you match them up with their colleagues?
Oh, that's a very, very good question. I can take that one. Seems I'm the only one left. All of the leaders have all done the performance making diploma program that we run at the Central School of Speech and Drama. And to all the graduates and to our professional company of artists, we asked who would like to be involved in this program. And it was quite a long sort of accessible recruitment process. So people had conversations with us if they were interested in certain elements of the program. And we underwent kind of taster sessions. So we did some taster sessions in what a digital voice might be, what a co-leader might be, what the chair of or a deputy chair of a board might be doing. And that was kind of quite fun, interactive sessions to kind of get a bit of a taste for it. And then as part of that, we then said who would like to then actually apply. So as part of that was sort of an accessible, easy read application process. And then we did interviews and we did sort of a mock workshop. And alongside that, we also did the similar thing to the support mentors. So people who wanted to apply to be a support mentor also went through a similar process. So once we chose who the leaders were going to be, the leaders then chose who their support mentors were going to be at the same time. So it was sort of all happening simultaneously over a couple of months period of time.
Learning disabled people should have a chance of being a governance so that they can steer, have a voice of being a governance.
Inclusive governance
Means that it means everyone basically.
So I probably shouldn't say this, but it can be really annoying when people just want to pop a learning disabled person on a board and think, great, we've got learning disabled representation on our board, done, easy, right? It doesn't really work.
No, like April it can be pretty confusing, and I'm glad that I've gotten to share my knowledge throughout the years of me being in accessible areas, and so they can change, so we can change and improve.
Making sure that everybody has a chance to talk as well.
Yeah.
Because especially for the board, people talk a lot. I'm not naming no names, but we have to move on, time.
If you want proper, meaningful learning disabled representation on a board, then you need to change the way your board meetings work. You need to make it more accessible. You need to create a space for it to be more inclusive. You need to think that as trustees or as CEOs, the challenge is not to have a learning disabled person who can fit into the way that you work. The challenge is to change how you work so that you can get better ideas. Some of the other things that we do to try and make sure that it's an inclusive space. For one, we put together accessible agendas.
We do like a prep session first of the agenda that we would like to talk about. So we go over it and we pick the most important topics that we really want to talk about in the board.
It's not just about having an easy read document to go through, it's also about how you lay out the meeting.
And also we make sure to, whoever takes turns, like for the warm-up, who speaks.
We know in advance what we're going to be talking about when, and those agendas as well are quite visual. We always, a really simple thing is we include photographs of the people who are talking or who are leading it.
It means everyone, you know, that doesn't have a voice that would like to.
When I'm talking about finance, which can be pretty boring, it's really good to hear about those kind of things where the money is going.
How do we make sure that everybody understands the story that you're telling with finance? You need all of your trustees to understand if there's a risk, if there's a problem going to come up with finance. So what we do is two things. We try and put everything into graphs so that it's quite visual. And then the second thing is really just thinking about the storytelling of your finances. It's not just about having an Excel budget with a bottom line. It's about saying, okay, we might actually run out of money in 6 months, and that's what this graph means.
It's good to know these kind of bits because it highlights the issue of that we know whether access or areas is actually doing it, actually what saying what actually doing. So yeah, it's really great to see that side of board meetings.
It also helps to have the conversation around if we only have so much money and we have to decide what project to do. By doing it like this, you kind of chip into that conversation as well. Where should we spend our money? What should we prioritise?
With the board members as well, they try their best, to, correct their wording, to explain stuff. So I was, really chuffed about that.
They really shift in the moment, don't they? They don't go away feeling all wounded if they haven't got something right.
Yeah.
It's much more relaxed and we get the business done as well. And you can see it in the other board. They are much more relaxed. And they give. I think they give so much more as well.
Having preparation meetings in advance, does that work for you?
Yes, doing it that way is really enjoyable and it's been really great because it helps me to understand and grasp the different nooks and crannies that goes along with what a board actually does, because this is the first time I've ever been on a board like this. When I was a part of Access Areas, I never ever thought I would be on a board like this. A board that can really change the formula that normally is expected of normal board meetings, and to be a part of that change. I never thought that I would be a part of that change before. Never in my wildest dreams.
So yeah, we're just going to ask some questions out to you and also take some from the live stream at home as well. Any questions you want to pose to Charlene, Paul and Sarah?
Hi, yes, I do got a lot of questions. It's a part of me and everyone in here, but what type of transforming leadership do you do at Access or Areas where I used to work with you?
It's very true, Francis. So what do we do within the governance roles of co-chair and co-deputy chair? Paul or Charlene, would you like to take any of that at all? What do you actually do? What is your job? What do you actually do in your job? There we go.
Me and Paul we are in in control of the board meeting alongside with Sarah and Frederick, and also our support mentor Heather. And we control the board, and what the agenda is going to be about, and we discuss topics for the company of Access All Areas, what's been the highlight, what like the highlights of Access All Areas, and what things that we need to work on a bit more, and also about finance as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Charlene. Paul or Sarah? Yep.
Thank you. We get into the nooks and crannies, and we delve deep into like the world of what governance really means, because like I don't know about you, but I haven't heard of the word governance. I haven't done anything about governance, and it's a really truly eye-opening experience for me to meet like every other week to do these meetings, to discuss all of the topics that need to be brought up, all of the text and agendas that need to be set in those meetings, and it gives me it gives us some knowledge and in heading towards these meetings, so we don't get lost in the mist. Yes.
Very well put, Paul. Lost in the mist. Sarah, is there anything you want to articulate from that? Yeah.
I think it's something that we carry with us all the time, inside us, this responsibility of shaping things in a way and making it really clear what governance is. As Paul was saying, it's quite difficult if you don't know what it is, but we do it together and we plan together. So we really try and understand the sort of things that we're going to do in the meeting. So we do a lot of planning before with Heather, but also just a few of us together. So we're really ready to go into the meeting, and it's actually made us more efficient, I think. And it's an enjoyable thing. I don't think I've ever enjoyed board meetings as much as I do now with this group of people. It has really changed the way I feel, but we do have to do difficult things as well and make difficult decisions. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I think the way we approach it and the planning and how we feel about it, we carry that responsibility. We understand it. We're not shying away from things, but yeah.
There's two examples I wanted to share, really. One was going through the director's report. So Patrick and I write a report about everything in the company, and then you go through that report with Heather, and you pull out some questions you want to ask us in the actual meeting, which we don't know about. And so that's already sort of planned ahead in advance, that you know exactly what you want to ask and when you want to ask that in the agenda. And the second thing was we had an away day last week, and Paul and Charlene, you ran a really exciting interactive session as part of the away day, which is very much taking it off the page. And I think that came from you, didn't it? Really sort of mapping out where we want to be in 5 years' time as a company and really thinking through our journey and doing that through a really fun game where we just stopped the kind of sitting around a table talking and just got on our feet and got practical. And that was a really great way of the board actually coming together and sharing and learning from each other, which definitely came from your inspiration, your energy. Yeah. Matt, you going to stop us again? Unless there's Paul, you've got your hand up there. Should we just get one more question from Paul or a thought?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, how long do you actually go, like you say you do planning sessions, how long do you actually take for those planning sessions? especially as boards are very busy people, as I know. Do all your board members turn up to the planning sessions beforehand? And yeah, that's the question.
We have a few planning sessions, don't we, Charlene? Do you want to say how many you have and who normally comes to them? If you remember, or we can help remind each other.
Yeah, probably.
We've got a few, haven't we? We have a joke about it. We have a pre-meet and then a pre-meet. And it's sort of, the first one is kind of a scoping exercise, isn't it, in terms of with Heather, the director's report, and then the second one is with you, Sarah and Frederick, as well as Paul and Charlene, just talking about the agenda and how you're going to run the actual meeting.
Yeah, and I think doing that means we're really on top of it. So knowing that the rest of the board are really busy people, as you just said, that's a really good point. So they come to the meeting and they really enjoy it because we're playful with them to start with. How have you been connecting with them? We've had a rotten couple of years and people are really struggling. So we just land and it's playful. And we design that and then we just get on with the business and it goes really efficiently, effectively. It really works to do that planning. So it's about that making time thing, isn't it? And I just have to say also, the sense of taking up time in the space, in the meetings, that these folk are not afraid of actually challenging those people who may be taking too much space up. Would you say, Charlene? Yeah?
Clock watcher. Very good. Is there, as we move on to the next section, rather than a question, Megan, is there a statement or anything you want to read out from the live stream? Heather, you okay to run over the mic? Sorry. Rather than a question, just any thoughts from audience at home?
Yeah, there's a stopgap dance company, really interested to hear what each leader's next steps are. And Jez Colborne, was it good?
Remind the gap?
Yeah. Was it good to be a director, co-director?
Oh, yes, it was, Jez.
And some great tips about making finance accessible to all board members. Love the video and the Zoom work too, and about the chair, board and planning too.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone at home. So we're going to move on to the last section now. So we'll say goodbye to our co-chairs and chairs. And we will move to the Digital Voices section.
The inclusion of disability online is getting better, but there's just one thing that is missing. The neurodivergent voice.
So, Kim, you have hosted some of our digital content.
I have. I have been going on and looking to see what's going on in the world of disabled performing arts.
I did a project with Christian, who's also got cerebral palsy, and also is trained. He asked me to do a film about being disabled and being online and about being trans.
I've co-directed the YouTube takeover with Colin.
You've interviewed Colin.
And I've interviewed John Kelly.
Mick Scarlett.
Laurie Jenkins.
Kathy Waller.
Oh, Owain.
Done your own creative work within that as well.
Why do you think it's important you are the one hosting that?
It means that you are hearing something from the horse's mouth. It's important that with marginalised groups, you are hearing it from people who have lived the marginalised experience, and it's important that we have a voice.
Because we are our own people, we have voices and varying voices at that.
Through the Transforming Leadership programme and having you on board, part of the aim was to connect with a different crowd because you're a representative from that different crowd, and it kind of works both ways as well. So connecting that crowd into us, but also our existing audience kind of finding out a bit more about the alternative scene.
And one of the discussions that we had is a lot of people in minorities quite often find their spaces online.
It's important that, you know, we have a space for ourselves so that we all get to talk to each other as disabled people, because we all know what we're going through.
Yeah, we can see your voice is sort of getting louder and more confident. We're seeing your brand, Dean's brand, develop over that period of time.
Put it this way, I'm shy at first, but when you get to know me, I just won't shut up.
Exactly.
You can tell when someone with lived experience has worked on something. People will say, oh, I've got a degree in this, or my brother has autism. But you can...
Exactly, the quality, it's more authentic quality.
One thing I loved about when we had a development session together, me and you were so adamantly clear that you wanted to make it from step one, that your experience is your lived experience as an autistic person. You're like, this is my experience.
I can't bloody explain the whole of what autism is. I can only explain my own autism.
Yeah.
We're all bloody individuals. I mean, yes, it's good to think about our community, but it's good to also think about us all as individuals as well.
Everyone has got a different experience, but different aspects of the same experiences could mean the world to someone who are finding their true selves.
How do we go about doing that in an accessible way?
Just ask us what's on our mind and what we want to present, and you know, let's have conversations rather, you know, about what it is that we feel in ourselves that need to be displayed to the outside world of disability.
What kinds of things did you do to kind of track those videos?
He just gave me the concept and just let me do it in a form that was comfortable to me.
It's absolutely been a positive change for us, and we'll definitely keep doing takeovers. It's actually transformed what we're doing with YouTube, totally. And we've got this whole YouTube strategy. Dean's a massive part of that, and we're going to continue collaborating with more people that you bring in as well.
Basically, their golden boy.
So what would it have been like for 14-year-old Terry to see 33-year-old Terry on TikTok?
I'll probably be a different man, and I'll probably be who I truly was at a younger age.
So for the last sort of 10 minutes, any questions or any thoughts people want to share who haven't spoken already? Anyone else from the audience who'd like to share anything?
Stopgap Dance Company, really interested to hear what each leader's next steps are.
Oh, next steps?
Yeah.
Okay, should we do that? Who would like to start? Your next steps within the world of digital influencing. Dean? Off you go.
Well, basically, like, the next steps for, you know, disability arts is, like, I'm going to, like, you know, take over their YouTube, you know, properly. Because, like, you know, I'm obviously going to still probably do the trailers as well for the newsletter, because that's the one thing I started out doing. Like, it started off as, you know, Zoom meetings. Then Colin said, "Do you want to do like editing for our newsletter and do the voiceover and you know advertise?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know." So started off with that, and then got into that, and I thought, yeah. So but it's basically been going up and up levels, you know, like since 2020, and now.
It's a mini takeover to a medium takeover to a maximum takeover.
Yeah, like, for example, I started off doing, like, even Instagram takeovers, which I did twice, you know, and this, like, YouTube takeover is, like, the major one, you know, like, the main show. They're all just, like, opening acts, you know, like, you could say. yeah, YouTube's takeover is, like, the headliner, if you know what I mean. If you've ever been to a concert or a festival, you know what I'm talking about.
Brilliant, thanks, Dean. But you, Terry, you got something to say? Yep. Go.
For me, it's I'm planning on doing a podcast with people with accessible areas, like the actors and the leaders, and I want to work on my video skills as well. So there.
Thanks, Terry. And Kian?
Yeah,
anything what you'd like to see the digital influencing to the next level? Where would you go next with it?
Oh, that's a very good question. Where would we go next with it? I've got all sorts of ideas. Just promoting more of our art and more of our work online and being more out there, I guess, but also taking accessible areas and us as disabled people all to the next level. You know, I really do push that, you know, more people will watch our advertisements online, and more people will know about accessible areas, and more people will know about each one of us as individual artists, and we get more recognition, and we're break out of the ghetto, I guess.
Yes, so a wall takeover.
Yeah.
Brilliant. One more question, Matt, do you think? We've got a question here from Jen. Yep, we'll bring over the microphone.
Hello, I'm Jen from Hubbub Theatre. We've come down from Derby. I love this. I think the digital presence, the digital influence is brilliant. It's something that we're looking at. Do you have any advice for our learning disabled, autistic creatives and others who might like to step into this digital influencing world?
Any advice? Who would like to take that one? Dean?
Just like, you know, take it step by step and don't like rush into anything. Just kind of like do what I did. I mean, you know, I was really didn't know what to do at first, but then like, you know, to go through things like one by one, and yeah, that's all I can say really, you know. But yeah.
Anyone else like to say anything? Colin, would you like to say anything? Kian, yep. Here we go.
Yes, it's all great, but remember, be very careful online, because there are many people out there that would definitely like to take advantage of you, especially if you're vulnerable and stuff. So, you know, ignore anything that looks dodgy online. But really, that's just a message to everyone. You know, this whole culture, this whole online culture that we're living in is all, you know, it's great in some ways, but it's terrible in some ways. So just ignore the terrible bits and, you know, stay away from the terrible bits and concentrate on the positives and, you know, stay safe online. But that's a message to everybody.
Thanks, Kian. Thank you. Anything, Colin, do you want to say anything at all? Yep.
Yeah, I would follow up on what Dean was saying, taking it step by step. For Disability Arts Online, working with Dean has been very much about listening to his aspirations and finding out how we can adapt to work to help Dean achieve those aspirations. And so it's been very much about kind of working out how to play to Dean's strengths and how that can also support Disability Arts Online to build the communities that we're sort of set on building.
Thanks, Colin. And is there one final thing from the live stream or from Twitter Megan or Kate would like to share? Yeah, brilliant. Okay.
Jez Colborne, I'll take away that being a leader with a learning disability is a must, and it's great. And to listen to what other people want.
Yes, listening is very important. Yeah, thanks, Jez, for that very good, wise words there. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. So thank you to Kian and Terry and Colin and Dean for joining us for this last round. For those at home, it's a quick 5 minutes comfort break, but we're going to come back in here at 4:15 for the final culmination. So yeah, make sure you fill in your cards, and we'll come back in 5 and we'll tell you what the next step is. Great. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. So once you're back in your seats, I would like you now, if you can, to pick up the cards that you found on your seats. Okay, now for the in-person audience, on the cards, one of the cards will have the question, what I will take away from today. Okay, and then on another card, you will have the question, what will I do differently? And thank you so much, Helen, for pointing them out. And then on the third card, it will have any questions that you might have, okay? So for the in-person audience, once you have written comments on your 3 cards, I would like you to come up and put all of your cards on this washing line. So all the cards saying what I will take away from today, you put on this washing line. All the cards saying what's one thing I will do differently, you will put on this washing line. And the third card, any questions you may have, you put on this washing line, as Francis from Blink Dance Theatre
Beautifully demonstrated by Francis.
is doing right now. Brilliant. Go on, Francis. Put it on the washing line.
So
Excellent.
this is your moment for that. If you've already written some stuff, please come and pin them up. If you need a moment, please feel free to write something. And if you need a hand to pin something up, give us a wave and one of our lovely AAA team will come and grab your card off you and put it in the right place. So we've got a few
Excellent.
minutes to do that now.
Brilliant. And for the online audience from home, you will have exactly the same questions on your chat. For example, what's one thing I would take away from today? What's one thing I will do differently? And any questions you might have. So for the online audience, you will have exactly the same questions on the chat, okay? So when you're ready, start writing.
And come on up.
Brilliant. Okay, everyone. So now I'm going to go over to the questions wall and I'm going to read one of them now. So here we go. Here we go. There's so many good things to put into practice. Where should an organization start? Ooh.
Great question. Let's have a look. We've also got, what is the process of turning so many ideas into an artistic plan? So a similar question, actually.
Definitely. Really, really important. Thank you so much. And now we're going to focus on the online audience from home. So, Megan, do you have any responses from the online audience?
We've got Mike down here, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, there's lots and lots of responses, which is brilliant. Some of them, Charlotte Beaver, AAC, my take home, that adding a learning disabled leader to my rehearsal room benefits me as much as it does the leader and improves the experience for everyone in the room. Zara Malibson, think more about others I take away and think leadership in a different way.
Nice.
And a couple more. Paul Smethurst, one thing I will do differently, take more time to listen and talk to others and try not to rush. Ivan Riches, I will take away that listening is one of the most important skills to develop and then finding the right question to help you in your journey.
It's brilliant. Thank you very much, Megan. Thank you, online audience. Hi.
Excellent. Thank you. One more time. Give yourself a round of applause. Thank you, in-person audience, and thank you, online audience as well. Okay, everyone. So now it's time for me to introduce onto the stage my fellow colleague and digital influencer, Terry.
Hi, Terry.
Hi.
So we have been doing a lot of thinking. We've been coming up with a lot of ideas. We've been getting very inspired this afternoon. Some amazing conversations happening. But what are we not thinking about?
Boundaries.
Boundaries, barriers. Yeah. So, and I'm sure in this list of questions, there's plenty of questions about the obstacles to doing this work. So what are we going to do about it, Terry?
We're going to talk about it. So get into groups of 4 or 5, have a conversation, and
Yeah, about the kind of maybe any ideas that have sprung up for you, what the barriers might be to making those happen.
For your organisation, there will be barriers. So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Terry. And also, within your discussions, you could also think about ways of resolving these barriers as well. So maybe thinking about possible solutions that you might try and put in place, perhaps. So have a think about that in the discussions as well.
So we're not going to make you move again. Just chat with the people around you. Find yourself in a group of 4 or 5, and you may notice you are near one of our lovely leaders who might be able to help you as well. So we're going to take a few minutes to chat about that. What are the barriers to doing this work for you, for your organisation? Go for it.
All right, guys. I'm sorry. I really love the conversations, but we're going to have to cut you off. I'm so sorry about that.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's been really lovely to see you discussing things. Thank you so much. But we're nice now to hear from the people, hear from you if you want to contribute to anything in person and online. It would be lovely to hear from you. So thank you very much.
Oh, I will bring a mic. I bring a mic to Sophie.
Hi, my name is Siobhan and I work at Oily Cart, and something that me and my little group here spoke about was how time can get in the way. Often in the arts we kind of work to quite strict deadlines, and sometimes the core team's capacity is just up there. So yeah, we would love to kind of learn more about how you have completely stretched out time and slowed everything down, because I think what we spoke, all of us would love to slow down and in turn create more room in our organisations for more leaders. So yeah, any tips, send them our way.
Thank you. Any more at all? Feel free if you want to. Yeah, we could ask Megan, do you have any comments online at all? Oh, we have some more. Okay, brilliant.
Sorry, hi. My name's Rebecca. We were just talking about like workplace environments in general, and how if they're already a bit dysfunctional, just for the neurotypical people, there's a sort of fear of embarrassing yourself almost by trying to be more inclusive and having to not just shift to a more inclusive but a less actively toxic environment where everyone's nice to one another and listens to one another whether or not you have a disability. And you know, I work at the moment, I'm doing a project with a local council, and we were talking about the fact that even though it's two different things, this idea of everyone's so stressed all the time, everything's, you know, either the biggest disaster or, you know, nothing's happening. It's like the same, the attitude is the same everywhere you go, and it's just about, yeah, making that decision to take a step back and not be embarrassed about how things are, but think positively about how things could be.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Excellent, so any more in-person audience suggestions and comments? Yep, from Charles, yep. Francis?
Yes, I kind of do. So, barriers, right? Barriers is much more important thing to say, but I really, for me, my barriers is being more great role model for them, and I find it much more difficult how I know there's like a different kind of hugging people. And I find it more difficult how I, for my barriers, I can't really be in their way. So I can't hug them. If I want to hug people, I can do that, but I need to find myself to not to have the attention of not doing my bad barriers are.
Brilliant. Thank you, Francis. Excellent. Anybody else? Yep.
What's pissed about it was that when I watched that video about the co-chairs and how Patrick really explained about the about like making decisions on budgeting and finance and that stuff. Yeah, it's like a lot of projects are being funded, so it's quite like a good way how to put like a story, or some kind of visual to make sure that it's kind of like everyone can really understand of numbers, because yeah, it's really a key that everyone needs to have a clear understanding of how finance works. So yeah, it's quite nice and sweet.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Charles. Yep. So should we go to the online audience comments now from Megan? So any comments from online?
Thank you. Charlotte Beaver, AAC. One of ours will be capacity to implement something like this when everyone's already working at or above capacity. Jez Colborne, we need to stamp out the barriers that stop us from doing what's right. Jenny Riding, the inconsistency in support across organisations. Some people get it and are on board and others don't. I worry about how that impacts on people's experience. Jane Dudman, we work with co-delivery with our artists, but the governance aspect is harder to achieve. We're making small steps, but it's slow. And giving time to make it a priority, an exciting next step.
Wonderful. That's really great. Thank you so much for the online audience comments. Yeah, so thank you so much. Brilliant. Well
Fab.
done.
Thank you. Oh, that was suddenly extremely loud. Apologies. Thank you so much for all of those thoughts. Like we said at the beginning of today, this is the start of a conversation, and we know that we could talk about this and talk about this and talk about this. So please don't feel that you are being cut off. We will be around at the end to chat some more about all of this stuff. In terms of these questions, these thoughts about what to do next, please, at the end, if you have time, come and have a look and come and have a chat about them. And also, we will be continuing this conversation on our social media over the coming months. So the conversation has only just started.
You must be bored of our faces now. So, can I ask all the leaders to come and join me and Jürgen, please?
All the leaders, come on down.
So yes, as you can see, all the leaders are here. So what the leaders are going to do now, we are going to share one thing that we would like to share with you of what's happened today. Yeah, so.
Thank you. So just from today, and also just kind of just thinking in general, because there's just so much to think about. Just in terms of, I think, sort of what, like my own experiences and like my, you know, sort of like the journey that I've taken and my own career choices since I was a teenager. It has sometimes been quite frustrating because there's been a lot of barriers and having to make a lot of decisions. So I think it's kind of important about to give people an opportunity, if you can, to take part in a wide range of opportunities, provide support for people who want to have training and education, or just generally provide opportunities for them to be more open to more sectors so that they can play a valuable role in your setting. Thank you.
Right. Basically, I just want to say, like, don't ever say never. These things take time. I mean, like, if it doesn't seem like it's happening at first, doesn't mean it won't, like, not happen. You know what I mean? Like, for example, 10 years ago, if you said to me, "Oh, where I'm going to be where I am now," I'd have told you you're talking bullshit, basically. You know. But yeah, remember, just take it step by step, as me and the team say. Yeah. Can someone just take this mic off me, please?
Everybody's different. Not every person is the same. Some of us have learning disabilities, but that doesn't mean we haven't got voice or a brain to work with. So employ us.
Yeah. Well said, Terry. It's just really this day is not only just to hear us talk, but to also celebrate and to acknowledge our differences, because we are unique. The way that we walk, the way that we talk is, and how we do things, and it'll give you a different perspective on how we use these tactics and methods to change and to really be better. And I know that in previous times we've said that we want to be better, but we haven't really kind of achieved that until now. Well, hopefully we'll be on the first step to achieving that.
Cheers, Paul. Well, to explain the whole thing, you've got what it takes to achieve your goals, and being a good leader and also being creative, it's like you're moving forward. Even though there's many obstacles, many barriers in your way, you just break them through and show them what you're made of. And it's like, why you keep holding yourself back? This is your time. Go for it. Give it a shot. Even though you gotta have patience. And your own entourage, of course. Everybody got their own entourage. And the biggest fan, of course, because they really love you so much, and you got what it takes. Thank you.
Being a good leader is about, first of all, being a follower, not being all, yes, this is what I do, you do as I say. No. Being a good leader means listening to other people and learning from other people as well, so you can learn from yourself. It's about patience, it's about commitment. A leader says, let's go. A dictator says, go. But a leader says, let's go. And that's, this may sound very simple, but it's very true. You've got to be open to how other people feel and consider other people's feelings to be a good leader. Just everybody remember that.
Thank
Honestly, my mind's whirling with so many points I would like to say right now, but I think the one I'm going to settle for in this nanosecond of time is, don't be afraid to get involved with your council or other local councils if you can. Don't be afraid to look outside of your own sector and your own communities. Sometimes, in the words of Tyler, the Creator, you've got to close the door to open a window. And that window, while smaller than a door, can blow the fresh air through and shake things up and create fresh new things. Thank you all.
And I just want to say that we should all feel so proud of ourselves for going on this experience together, taking on new leadership roles and becoming strong leaders and strong public speakers. And I think the audience in here and online should be so proud of themselves as well for coming here and listening to us, for listening to each other and taking the first steps into creating something really, really amazing, giving learning disabled and autistic people a voice to make the world a better place. Amazing. Thank you. And now over to Charlene.
Thank you, Adam. And, you know, for me, you know, to take apart from this is, you know, don't be afraid of change, you know. It's time for change now. And, you know, today, as you see today, you know, Transforming Leadership is a real impact, you know, and, you know, it will definitely benefit on your organisation and, you know, your work, will, impress and encourage people to, you know, to thrive, you know. So, you know, just, you know, today, you know, talk amongst yourself, get involved, you know, with other organisations, you know, because it's really important, you know, learning disabled and autistic should be leaders. So, yeah, that's what I would like to say to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Charlene. Thank you so much. So, Charlene, I believe we've got one spare card left.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, what are we going to do with the spare card?
One card. Yes. So you may have written on your card, and that card is a pledge card. Yes, pledge card. So, so with the pledge card, it means that, you know, what you've learnt today, you know, we've given you so much information, and now we just want you to kind of you know, make sure what you've learned today and that what you're going to take away from this trans leadership event. So, so
we've got three steps, haven't we?
Yes,
we're
three steps for the
We're thinking the
pledge.
long term, what people could do maybe in the future.
Yes, and then we've got in the next month. So yeah, in the
It could
next
be one thing, couldn't it? It doesn't have to be change the whole world. It could be just one action.
No.
And then the last one is what you're going to do tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Not just have your Cocoa Pops.
No.
For transforming leadership.
Yeah, so that means, you know, we know that it's not going to change just like a click of a, you know, switch or be magic or anything like that. We know that it will take time, and that's really, you know, that's really acceptable, you know. Take your time, but we just want you to, like, have the pledge, stick it on your desk, stick it on your fridge, you know, just to remind you of the pledge, you know. And, you know, that's something that you will do soon or later.
Brilliant, thank you. See, just small gradual steps, you know, will hopefully make that seismic shift that we want in the long term. So, yeah, thank you so much for taking part today. Patrick, you're going to say a few words to close up?
Yeah. Hi, yep. Sorry for standing in front of you. So, yeah, just to say, again, the thing that I said at the very start, this is a conversation, we keep saying it. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card for us not to have all the answers for you. I would say a lot of the comments and questions that came up are about time and having the time and capacity, and I totally get that as somebody who's gone on this journey with all of us over the last few years. Two things I'd say to that is the step-by-step thing. Don't try and do it all tomorrow at 10 a.m. But the other thing is that working more accessibly, it's just better. Slowing down, it helps you. You become more efficient. You get rid of the guff, as Sarah said in our room. You get rid of the hot air. And you realize, actually, I don't need to do this or this or this, but I'm going to focus on this. So it's just better to work more accessibly, but step by step. So, yeah, we're going to keep going on social media. We're going to try and talk to you, not today because we'll be in the bar, but over the next few months. So use the Transforming Leadership hashtag. It's not, Transforming Leadership is not just Disability Arts Online and Accessible Areas, it's also Arts Council, so you might see other projects in there, but if you talk to us on there, we'll listen and we'll share our ideas. keep talking to us. We've given in-person people this pack. This is just a bit of a record of what we've done and some of our ideas that we've talked about today. If you're at home, this is also available on our website, in the digital section of our website, so you can download it there. And then we've also put most of this content into video clips, so we'll be sharing them on our digital section as well. So there's more accessible versions on video as well. And the last thing I think was to say is that the bar is open. You all get a free drink if you're in the room. If you're at home, hopefully you can have a drink by yourself. Have I forgotten anything? Have I forgotten anything?
That's it, Charlene. So people can come down and chat to us and look at all the comments.
Come talk. Oh yeah, get your free drink ticket from these lovely helpers here. All right. Oh, sorry. There was one thing. I knew there was one important thing. Thank you, Jasmine. We are continuing to evaluate, as we said. So Lee will be outside with our lovely Hannah and with the evaluation team. And if they stop you and grab you and ask for a chat over the next half hour or so, we would love just to hear a couple of thoughts or questions if you have them, and we might record them on camera. If you prefer not to be on camera, that's fine. You can just talk to them as well separately. But they might grab you outside or maybe in the bar downstairs if you do join us there. Yeah, great.
And Charlene, you're going to say one last moment about the leaders? Give a round of
applause. Sadly, it's coming to an end now to this event, unfortunately. Thank you. Yes, but I just want to say, a few thank yous. First thank you is to say thank you to Battersea Arts Centre for hosting our event and all the staff as well at Battersea. Thank you very much. The second thank you is our fabulous leaders. Can we give... And also, thank you to our mentors as well. Thank you. And also, thank you to our accessible area staff as well. And also, thank you to our BSL and our captioning as well. And lastly, but not least, you lovely audience, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And also the live stream too. Thank you very much for joining us and for Megan for the questions. Thank you. And just a one note, like Patrick said, keep joining us. Using the hashtag transforming leadership to share your thoughts online. And also, please stick around to chatting here with us. And also, afterwards, you can claim your free drinks. So, yeah. So, thank you very much again. Thank you. Bye-bye.